All right. I am going to explain to you how we turned that table on the left, well, actually, that piece of wood on the left into that table. So, this video is for some of our clients and things like that who have asked us some questions. Um, how, when you're looking at like this raw piece of wood on the left, how do you know where the epoxy goes, right? So, here are the first three things that we're sort of going to go through with a client, right? Number one is going to be the type of wood you want, right? Do you want figure? Do you want straight grain? Also color too as well. And then the two types of layouts. I'm only going to cover two today that are most popular, which is the cast. So think like Han Solo in Carbonite, like with Jabba the Hutt and all that stuff. And then the amount of epoxy you want. That's more relevant when it comes to like the void layout than it is to cast. Cast generally has like a lot of epoxy. So let me show you what I mean here about cast and void. Um, Left, obviously void, right, cast. You can see the void option has a lot less epoxy. And when I say voids, what we're doing is we're filling spots that you can see here, which are just cracks and giant voids and things like that. Now, when you come to us, you can tell us and talk to us about what you want in terms of the amount of epoxy, right? Like sometimes people just want like a small fill, right? Like nothing crazy. And sometimes people want like a medium fill. I would say the void on the left is probably about a medium fill, and then cast on the right. Obviously, that's a lot of epoxy. So these clients both selected very figured slabs, and we took some shop pictures of those and put them up here for you as well. Let me give you a couple more examples. Here is a void that you can see in both of these. The one on the right has a medium-sized void. The one on the left is low, right? And these clients chose different directions. It's all sort of up to you. So let's talk a little bit about cast here as well. Obviously, we can do different colors of epoxy, different types of wood, all of that good stuff. And you've got a couple really good examples of our cast feature there as well too. Um, Here, how did we get to this point, which is pretty crazy to think about because it takes a lot longer than you might think. And there's a lot that goes into getting something to look like that. This is where we start. And I wanted to sort of show you sort of a lot of the things to highlight that. Now, when you're doing a table such as this here, all these white marks are where we're going to wind up putting epoxy. Probably the most important white mark is this one here, which is highlighting this light brown area that you can barely see. And we don't get the greatest pictures from sawmills, right? Like looking at this piece of wood, you have really no idea what it's going to turn into. And this area here, this light brown, we're going to have to grind a lot of that out. So the actual fill on this is going to be larger than you might think because that's all like decayed wood. And that's something that's sort of neat about our company too, as well, is that we take a lot of things that, we're giving them kind of a second life here because, years back, this would have just turned into firewood. But with the use of epoxy and a lot of the modern day adhesives that we have, we can turn this into a piece of art for a client. Now, this is a giant slab. It was 12 feet by 4 feet. It was a conference table for a client in Vermont, if I remember correctly. So all your red marks are the white marks are where you're going to see epoxy, right? It's really highly figured, and we're going to go with like a medium amount of epoxy here. The red marks are where you're going to see a real amount of figure. And it was even more figure in the slab than you can see from this image. And when you see the final image, you'll see that. So sort of our next step, once we'll present you with three options here based on our conversations of what you want, right? I want low epoxy, high figure, whatever it is. We'll find those perfect slabs for you. And then we'll present you this, which is a mock-up, right? Now, this is just a mock-up of the tabletop with the appropriate amounts of epoxy and things like that, right? Um, our rendering system doesn't do the greatest job with figure and color and things like that. So this is just more for the layout to show you where you're going to get epoxy and how much of it you should expect. It's a good estimation, but it's not perfect. And you'll see, this is very close to the original rendering or to the final table that we did here. And here it is in its office. Um, so you can take a look at that and you can see it in detail and whatnot. and the client took this video as well. So, you can see the amount of epoxy in all the areas that we highlighted that have it and whatnot. And this is a very, very figured piece of Claro walnut from Northern California that we imported here to Chicago. I think that's it for the video there. This is our cast option, right? So again, think Han Solo and carbonite, right? Very, very popular, probably our second most popular type of epoxy table. We usually do 1 or 2 river tables a year. I didn't cover river tables today because I think most people understand that. But this here has been very, very popular for us because you can take an abnormal slab that has weird dimensions to it and make it into something functional. So like this particular client, they wanted a highly figured slab, lot of epoxy, 12 by 52 inches. And this is over in Hinsdale, I believe, Hinsdale, Illinois, which is just outside of Chicago for those of you that aren't from around here. So we're going to take this, and those red marks that you see, those are all highlighting the epoxy locations. The one in the middle, actually, excuse me, I should have made that a white mark. That's highlighting a lot of the figure and grain. So when you look at the slab after we finished it, you're going to see like these locations are going to be filled in, and you're going to have a good estimation of what you're kind of getting into, right? Now, to further help explain that to clients, here's another rendering, right? And I'm not the greatest at rendering stuff, but it gives a good estimation of what the final table is going to look like, right? And there's, gosh, this table actually ate up probably 10 more gallons of epoxy than I originally estimated because of the species is cottonwood, and it absorbs a lot of epoxy into it to stabilize it because it's a softer wood, right? So, this went to a family out in Hinsdale, and they loved it. And we've got a lot of referrals from it too as well. So here it is, a signing.
Right about in here, I think is good. Because we're going to have pieces of metal go along the bottom too.
Can you write our name?
That's good. Perfect. And a heart. So you can put your name like right
that little
about
girl
in
was great,
here,
so I just wanted to share that video with you so you can see
we're gonna have pieces
some
of
of
metal
the
go
unique
along the
customer
bottom, too.
experience that we provide here. We have children in all the time sign the bottom of
That's
tables,
good.
and it's a
Perfect.
great memory for them. And the
And
reason
a
I
heart.
started to actually do that
So you can
was
put your
because
name,
I remember
like, right
growing
about
up,
in
I
here,
was
I
born
think is
in
good.
Connecticut, and I grew up in a
Because we're
home
gonna have
that was
pieces of
built in
metal go along the
1722
bottom,
and had
too.
this door where I was measured. 1722 people are a lot shorter.
That's
Probably
good.
can't tell from the video. I'm a lot taller,
Perfect.
so I outgrew the door.
And a heart.
Probably by the time I was like
So you can put your name
14.
like right about in here.
But my
I
height
think
went
is
up,
good.
and that memory went with the
Because we're
home.
gonna have
So I
pieces of metal
figured,
go along the
for little
bottom,
kids
too.
like this, it's cool to have that memory to see that. But I also wanted you to see the slab in progress.
That's good.
So that you could see, like,
Perfect.
as it sort of
And a heart.
and whatnot. And obviously that's the
You can
bottom,
put your
so not
name
the best
like right about
side
in
of it, but the
here,
top
I
came
think
out
is
great.
good.
So we took on the left and turned it into what you see on the right as well. Just an example of what we do here. I don't do a lot of YouTube videos, so hopefully this is helpful to like potential customers. The only people who are probably going to see it are people that I send it to. But I hope this helps, and please reach out to us, jerry@bucktownbuilt.com or 773-302-1388 if you've got a question. Thanks so much. Have a great day.